Good morning, everybody. This is Lori from Grammy's Keepsakes, and I'm going to make some more embellishments for my design team project for Artzology. And we're going to make a pen. We're going to make a little journaling card, an altered paper clip, and another altered paper clip that is a hidden journaling spot. So let's get started. I'm halfway organized today. Crazy. But I wanted to share this product with you first. This slide and this slide came from this die that I just received yesterday on scrapbook.com, and it's called Vintage Slides. You get 3 pieces. It's the small one, the big one, and then this reinforced circle. And they look like that. So I did some die cutting last night and had some fun. So let's go ahead and pull out the goodies. Oh sure, organize, and then I can't even get the paper clip off. Good move, right? So anyway, I have a sample of the Botanical journaling cards that I'm using out of the kit today. And it's a little journaling spot. So I've already done some die cutting, and we'll use this for an example. What I did when I did my die cutting, first I used just cardstock, and I thought, well, that could be interesting, but how about we step it up a notch? So what I did was I glued some of my gardening encyclopedia page to the cardstock, and then I ran it through the die cutter, and then I inked it up, and so now it's fun. And this is one of the Botanical Paradise scraps from what we were working on yesterday. And with this window, what we can do is slide to see where you would like. What do you want in your slide? What would you like to see? So we can have some fun with that. You can put anything. I've got some words here too. Well, that one's a little bit too big, but there we go. We can make a title. You can use that little frame for anything. And that word's going to be too big too. These are the titles of the books that I'm working on right now. You can have Conservatory, The Arboretum, Botanical Paradise, and Field Notes. So I was just kind of playing with sizing, and I printed it on coffee dyed paper. But that kind of is a fun element, but we'll put that aside. We're digressing. We're going to decide what we'd like in our frame for our specimen. I'm going to go with this one. So what I want to do is just trim it off a little bit. Keep this scrap. It's going to come in handy. And then I'm going to just glue a little bit. I'm using art glitter glue that dries clear, just gluing around the frame. And now I'm going to place it to where I want it to be. and then press it down. I got some fun new pins yesterday. I went to Joann's to run some errands, and they've got these new stainless steel pins. They have a button head. I've never seen them before. And of course, you know, I had to use that Dritz coupon where all sewing notions were 50% off, so I splurged. I don't have one of those fancy dangle ones, but that works for me. Okay, so that's going to be our little slide. So now what I want to do is just kind of glue around it a little bit so that we can keep it closed. I don't really want to put any glue in that center because it's a heavyweight paper, but still I don't want any, if it should have any ridges or anything, that it may show up in the final product. So we're going to just glue around the sides. And then here, I've got some words here, specimen. And I printed that on coffee dyed paper also. Just go ahead and clip off one. Ink up the edges a little bit. And dab of glue. I like this one because it doesn't roll around like the little ball pin that I was using before. These, they roll around and then they end up on the floor, where this one's flat. I think they had me in mind when they made it. Okay, so I just kind of centered that a little bit and glued it down. Now I'm going to grab the crocodile and I'm going to put in the little tiny holes, and I'm just kind of eyeballing it over to the side a little bit. And again, and you don't have to have this slide die to make these. You can just go ahead and cut a rectangle and then cut out another rectangle, and that'll work too. And now I'm going to use some eyelets in the little tiny size. Grab 2 of those out of here. And I've already got the post and the bottom set up to fit the small eyelet, and then just squeeze it. And there we go. Let's put a little coffee dyed paper on the back for a journaling space. We just kind of, I like that rough shape, so we're just going to tear. If you wanted it precise, you just go ahead and cut it, but this adds interest. The cutest, smallest little journaling card, isn't it? Now I want to get my glue book use my Oohoo glue again. Whoops. And burnish it down a little bit. And now we have 2 little journaling cards. And I was thinking what we could do with these also is these can make big paper clip, altered paper clips too if you'd like. You know, just glue that on before you glue them together. Go ahead and put the image on and then give it a try. That's just a thought. But so I don't take up all your day, let's go ahead and make one of the next ones. We'll put my little goodies back in my pouch. I just love these. I think they're so cute. That's this one. So let's make that little tiny small one. And that I did put a paper clip on the back. Got my goodies ready. And so here, it's like I was playing with it a little bit already to see where I wanted it to be. And they look like onions almost, or garlic, but I want those blue flowers. I think those are nice. Let's go ahead and trim off the scrap. Save that. Yeah. Making sure that I better give it another little trim so that I don't go over the edge. Making sure I didn't do too much damage. A little bit off the sides. Not much, just slivers. And now I'm going to go ahead and, same process, put the glue and we're going to look and see how we want it to look. Get both of those flowers in. And it's got that little number 1 here for the botanical plate. Cute. Okay, so now I want a paper clip, and I'm going to put the small one on the inside. Yes, I want it to go this way. Okay, so I'm putting the paper clip on, and because I don't want this to get ruined, I'm going to use a scrap of Tyvek envelope. It's this paper that's non-rippable and non-tearing, and it's waterproof. I'm going to use a scrap of that. And for this paper clip, I'm going to use Fabri-Tac. So I just want to apply some over the paper clip to attach it to the cardstock. and cut a piece of Tyvek, and I'm recycling envelopes that I get from the mail and the post office, UPS, and FedEx. They all use these kind of envelopes. And so I don't care if there's writing on them or not. I just upcycle them. And also, if you don't have access to it, Joann's in their Pellon interfacing section, they sell it by the yard, and I think it's $3.99 a yard. It's where you're going to find the heat and bond and the other interfacings. And then you can also, they have it on Amazon that you can buy it too. And it's called Tyvek. It's Tyvek. There. Now we're going to go ahead and glue this together. And I'm going to use the Art Glitter Fabri-Tac again. Not too much. It's going to ooze a little bit already, because that's what it does. And then just put them together. I got glue all over my fingers. Another thing that might be kind of cute on this is to go ahead and put in an eyelet here, and you can hang a little garment pin or a little dangle off the paper clip. That would be cute. So now we have another little paper clip. I think that's precious. Fun little embellishment, isn't it? Let's go ahead and make another one of my embellishments. We'll put my little scraps away again. So let's go ahead and make this one. We'll put away the Fabri-Tac. We want art glitter glue for this one. And another paper clip. And it's a little pocket. And I cut my pieces 4 by 4.5. And this little embellishment I used in my last set of journals, but I didn't show you how I made them. And so we're going to go ahead and do that. When you get the botanical journaling cards, you also get it in the PNG, which means that you can size it to be any size that you want. They don't have to be the 3 by 5 journaling cards. And so I made some full size, and I'm having some fun with those. And we need the scoreboard. And I put the 4.5 at the top. I'm going to score at 1.5, at 3 for all of my pieces. 1.5 and 3, 1.5 and 3. Don't need this anymore. Should we make that pretty pink one? And now what we're going to do is fold on the score marks. So it's going to look like this, like a little bookmark. We're going to put a little thumb notch here, and you can use a circle punch, or I've got a We Are Memory Keepers thumb notch punch. I'm going to go ahead and use that for this project. And I always punch upside down so I can see where it is I'm going with it. And I made little black marks on the metal so that I don't go in too deep. Now I want to ink around it a little bit. And all of my folds, hit those too. Double checking, make sure I got it. My sponge is starting to deteriorate. So now I want a paper clip, and I want the long one to the outside. And I'm just placing it in the center of the center, like that. And now I'm going to use Fabri-Tac because I've got that metal. I want to make sure that we're going to adhere it well. And I'm going to go ahead and just hit a little bit all over with the Fabri-Tac. In my last journal set, I stitched this instead of glued it all. Well, I glued the paper clip, but then I did some stitching. I zigzagged here and here. If you're going to zigzag or sew or straight stitch, you can't sew with the paper clip in the way. So what you need to do is where that paper clip is, you just want to do your stitching on this portion here, and then assemble the whole thing. And you're going to have to, and in order to assemble it, then you need to glue here, and it'll look like it'll have the stitching. And then here you can go ahead and just stitch through the whole thing. But I'm going to glue it this time. Getting glue goobers, technical term. And that fine line on the edge. And now we've got a little secret journaling pocket on our paper clip. And then if depending on how big you want yours to be, measure to see how big paper you can put inside. And so I've got a 3 by 3 1/4, and I folded it in half, and I'm going to slip it inside, and that's where I want it to live. Let's put it this way so we don't cover up that pretty coffee dye. So it's going to live in there. Now we want to take my 3/4 inch circle punch and I want scrap paper. Here's an old envelope. This will work. And here's a trick. What we're going to do is we're going to punch the encyclopedia page, but because this paper is so nice and soft and thin, I'm going to fold it in half so I can punch 2 at a time. But what I want to do is insert a piece of paper inside so that it's more stable, or there's more guts to it, more heft to it, so it has a cleaner punch. And now we can go ahead and punch through. And now we have our little circles, and so they're not raggedy, they're nice, and you end up with an extra one if you need. So now what I want to do is put a little bit of glue where I want my circle to live. And I don't want my words to be perfect so you can read them, so I'm going to make it kittywampus and angled and upside down. So that's where I want that to be. Pull it out, open it up, and I'm going to glue all around on the other one. And then we'll go ahead and place it over the top of the first, lining up the edges the best we can. And now we have a little paper clip. Here we've got one that opens on this side and one that opens on this side. And when the glue dries, this will be more firm. And then we've got these fun ones too. Let's fold them and see what they're going to look like. That one's not very pretty. This one is, though. That's going to be a nice one. And then our thumb notch, we'll see what it looks like. I'm a visual person. That's going to be nice. Here, let's stick this in it. Cute. Let's see what this one's going to look like. That curiosity. Well, that's interesting. Oh, so's that. So we just have to decide on this one if we want it to be a right or a left opening. This one's going to have a right. Yeah, I like that one. But this one, I don't know. It's kind of fun with that pink and the thumb notch. I've been coffee dyeing again. I'm sorry about my hands. I didn't use gloves. I was careless. And so now my hands are going to be stained for a while. But I think I'm going to go with this one. I think that just makes a statement. We're going to punch it, so we're going to commit. We're going to commit. It's going to look like that. Okay. But let's go ahead and make our next project. Get all my little scraps together again. I just love these little journaling spots. Cute. Okay, next project. We're going to make this pen. And what I've done is cut 1-inch wide strips. I printed one of the Botanical Paradise boards or flower plates, botanical plates, onto cardstock. And I just picked one and I just printed it, and then I cut it into 1-inch strips, and we're going to make this skinny little pen. And where in the last journal bunch I had the skinny little pens, but they had sari silk and the little ribbon bow on top. I'm not going to do that this time. I'm just going to leave them just like this. No frou-frous today. So this is 1 inch across 6 inches. 1 inch by 6 3/4 inches. The long one, I scored it at the 6 inches, and then I put a little piece of masking tape for some stability. And now I'm going to use score tape. And I've got 1/4 inch, so that's what I'm going to use. If you've got 1 inch or 1/2 inch or 3/8, use what you've got. And I'm going to go ahead and just run one all the way up the center. Use my stamp block for my cutting guide. And now I'm going to place the next row of score tape right next to the previous one. I hope you can see that. Get my big man hands in the way, it makes it hard. And we're just going to burnish that down. And use your pokey tool to get the backing off. Don't use an X-Acto knife. I'm going to use a pokey tool also to eyeball the center, and on that score mark, go ahead and punch a hole. And these pen refills, I got these on Amazon. And they just came in a bulk bag of, I think there's 100 pieces. And they have a little flange or a little fin. I always want to make sure that I put that flat, not up, because then it would poke holes in the paper. So when you go to put that in, put the pen nib in the front first through the hole, and now make sure the flange is flat, and go ahead and lay it down on that score tape. Okay, and then I'm going to get a piece of score tape here to go on top of this pen too. I should have put it on the paper. Get that off there. Fold the paper down over the top. Now we're going to take the 1-inch piece and flip it over, and I want score tape along the center of that one again, because it's going to go over the top of that pen. And then we're going to go along the edges of this piece, and so that it will attach to the parts on the edge that don't have score tape on the other half. So now it'll be completely covered. You can use glue. I just want to make sure that I have a good seal with that plastic. Burnish it down. Remove my backing. Making sure I'm not upside down. And I'm gonna, oh, we need a paper clip. I bet you were screaming at me. Where's the paper clip? Okay, we're gonna go ahead and slip that on here. There's our paper clip. We got it. I'm going to go ahead and put a dab of fabric tack, not too much because we don't want to deactivate the score tape, but in this center section. Just a dab. There we go. It's sticking to me. I guess that's good. It makes it work. When you're working with score tape, make sure that you don't have any lotion or oils, creams on your hands. It deactivates the adhesive. So now I'm just lining up that bottom, sort of. And making sure that I line it up all the way across, along the length. And press it. I'm going to use my bone folder to burnish it down on the edge. Making sure our paper clip's going to stay. And now we've got to make our angles down here at the bottom. And I mark up 1 inch, and I'm using a clear ruler so I can mark them at the same time. And just making a little mark on each edge. And now I'm going to grab my scissors, not too close to the pen nib, and angle it out to that little mark and cut. Turn it around, that mark, and angle it towards the pen nib and cut. And we've got score tape all over in there, so it should be nice and sturdy, but I always want pinch, pinch, pinch. And then I just want to ink the edges. Knock that white off of the cardstock that I printed on. And if you find that your 1-inch strips don't quite line up, just trim them with the scissors. And I use a 6-inch so that I make sure that I've got enough room between my pen nib and my paper clip so that the paper clip's not going over the pen. So that's the reason I use a 6-inch. And then it's not a high quality pen or anything, but it sure works great for in a pinch. And it's a cute little gift. It's a little, you know, just a little token. And it's fun. So here we've got 2 little pens. They're going to be cute in my journals. I've got 2 more to make. So thank you very much for watching today. I'm glad you could come along for the ride. And here's what all of our little fun looks like. Thank you so much. Bye now.